Hey, what's up? In a few more days, November 1st, people are going to be without their EBT food stamps, SNAP benefits. And, you know, the way so many people have been trashing them online, it really makes me sick. Um, you know, there's nothing I like more than when people show off their hypocrisies because it's always great when it's somebody else who they're talking about, but when it's somebody close to them, they're always like, oh, they need all the help in the world. What are we going to do? We need to have a benefit for dinner for them. Oh, no, no, no. We can't let them go starve and go without this. Well, what do you think these people who are on these benefits are doing? They don't have the advantage of a community who's turning out to support them because let's face it, a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. I mean, I've seen these hardships myself, friends and family, and they are basically by themselves. But somebody who has like the means to do it, and that was kind of the reason I got out of the journalism world because it was kind of like that. It was kind of like these people were always talking about, oh, I'm so blessed that I have people, who are taking me to my doctor's meetings and appointments and all this stuff. And I'm like, you have money. I mean, Uber exists, it's not like, you're being, you know, they're being asked to drive you across country to something. So, but anyway, back to what I was saying. Speaking of cars, a lot of people will often criticize lower income people if they are driving nice cars, which is not always um, easy black and white story because a lot of people fall on hardships at the worst time in their life when they are uh, making a good salary and a good job, and suddenly things go bad, and they're about 2 to 3 years into a lease on a car, or maybe even four, or this close, a few months away from paying it off. So, you spend 25,000, $30,000, 35, whatever it is nowadays, on a car that you're just gonna have them repossessed, And I know a lot of people will say, well, why don't you sell the car after you get it paid off? Well, you really do think the Kelly Blue Book value is going to be the same as you put in? Also, a lot of these used car dealerships, they're not going to want to give you cash out. They're going to want to give you a trade in. Oh, yeah, well, we can give you so much on that, but we really want to sell you a car. And then you got Carvana and all these other places. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the issue goes back to is you don't have a car. You have the money, you don't have a car. How you gonna get to work? How you gonna get around? How you gonna even go to the store? I mean, these people do not think logically about the financial hardships people deal with every day. They just think they go out there spending money wildly and buying up junk food. And, and the funniest thing is, they're always trashing processed, canned foods, hot dogs, stuff you can freeze easy. But yet they turn around and they're criticizing all these people for not buying, canned foods, hot dogs that they can freeze easy. So, like, you know what? You just don't want people to get a break. That's it. The thing is I've often said, we never do graduate from high school. We just change, geography. And so many of these people, they were top dogs in high school. And they get to in their 20s and 30s and they realize, oh my God, no one's listening to me anymore. Of course not. We don't give a shit what you say. You're basing all your assumptions and your theories and stuff on things that you don't experience. So, I mean, yeah, they gotta follow the stupid old logic that everybody who's on welfare, food stamps, WIC, they're bad people, and that's not always the case. We live in a country in which at any moment you can lose your job. You can be walking down the street, somebody runs a red light, and you get injured. And you got thousands upon thousands of hospital bills, medical bills. So, we're not fortunate enough. A lot of people aren't fortunate enough to have a rainy day fund. They're not even fortunate enough to have a drizzle day fund. I mean, a lot of people try to save money, and it's hard to do, especially when rent's going up, gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, health prices are going up, drug prices are going up, all this other stuff. So it's harder to keep putting back money every month or every paycheck. I mean, it's just so illogical, these people who just do not have any concept of what it's like to be down on your luck. And the thing is, people look at me and they think, oh, well, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. The thing that really irritates me is that I have a car that's paid off. It's a Ford Escape. It's about 2012 year. And when we got it paid off, people left saying, well, you need to go and you need to trade that in, get you a new car and all this other stuff. I'm like, why? It runs fine. Okay, I need to change the tires when they get worn, but you're going to do that anyway. If you take care of a good car, it's going to last you a while. My dad has a pickup truck that he says he's had for 25 years. So, it's not always about trading in to look good driving a car. That's, it may not be worth it to spend all that money on a car that's, to keep buying them and trading them in and buying them, And I think that's another thing that irritates people is that they have built up in their minds this idea that you have to live in squalor. You have to drive the most worthless, rickety, like John Candy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, burning oil, all this other stuff, cars that, why? And the same thing with clothes, why can't people be comfortable? If you have a car that runs, if you have a house that's paid off and it's nice, who cares what other people say? But the problem is a lot of people are mad because they have built up in their minds the way that you're supposed to live and you're supposed to look because they don't see that you're better. They see that they're better than you are. And those that don't really care, don't care. So that's why we have all this shit with Trump and the Republicans and all this stuff because, they just have to have this we're better than you mentality. But, they're not. I mean, so, I don't know. I think it's so funny that the people who are going to get hurt the most or have been hurt the most are the same people he has supported. No. They supported him, pardon me. He doesn't support them. And I think the inauguration this year showed you where his values are. And so many people think, I still think the whole reason he got elected in 2016 was people thought he was going to give them money because people are that stupid. They saw black sheep 30 years ago and they think that every election they write down who you're going to vote for, and that's a matter of public record. That doesn't happen. That's bullshit. It doesn't happen. You step in that voting booth or whatever, and they don't care. They don't know. But people think that. Why? Because they see it in the movies. Same reason they think about people who are lower income or this other stuff should be, live in a certain way. But the thing is that the hardships hopefully don't last. So why should you, sell everything that you have that is good and working just to pay a few bills that ain't gonna last yet long? So, but these people who supported him for the last 10 years, they're the ones who are gonna get so screwed over even more by him. But yet they are the ones who keep coming back every year, every time to defend him, no matter what happens, no matter what happens to them, no matter what happens to their loved ones, their friends. And it's just crazy. And I don't know. So, and of course, they want to blame the Democrats. Well, yeah, they have had problems in the past, but this is totally the Republican things. They're in charge of the House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, White House. So, this is their baby. So, but anyway, I just don't really know what else to say. But it just kind of makes me laugh. I've been trying to. I really haven't cared a lot these last year or so because it's like the old parable. You knew it was a rattlesnake when you brought it in from freezing out in the cold. What you think was going to happen? So, sorry, it's some people are going to be affected by this, and I'm pretty sure one of them and other people around me are. But you can't tell some people about anything because they won't believe you. And then when it happens to them, they still won't believe you. So, anyway, thanks for listening. Good day.